stolen my heart away, heart away, heart away. Mother, you've stolen my heart away, farther away than the stars. Keep me not bound here, teach me to fly, far from earth's madness, free ere I die. Keep me not bound, Ma, teach me to fly, farther away than the stars. There's nothing here nearly so dear, nearly so dear, nearly so dear. Mother, I know your love's ever near, though farther away than the stars.
Let's inhale with a double breath, tensing the body. Exhale and relax, and twice more. Relax more deeply. Let's meditate for just a couple minutes. Please repeat this affirmation after me. God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. He will lead them to the abode of peace. He will lead them to the abode of peace. God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. He will lead them to his abode of peace. God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. He will lead them to his abode of peace. God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. He will lead them to his abode of peace. Now mentally repeat, God is the shepherd of my restless thoughts. He will lead them to the abode of his peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We'll now have a reading from Whispers from Eternity and then from the Bhagavad Gita.
Good morning. This reading is from the Whispers from Eternity by Paramhansa Yogananda. Teach me to spend for others as I spend for myself. If through thy grace I have more wealth than others, teach me to share the surplus with those who have less or even nothing. For thou art in the poor as much as in the rich. Blessed are those who share their abundance with others. To die rich without having shared anything is really to die poor, and to pass the portals of death willingly impoverished by having gladly shared with others is to die truly rich. Teach us to spend as happily and freely for others as we spend for ourselves. Teach us not to love thy gifts more than thee, the true giver of all gifts. Those who share thy gifts freely with others, even as thou sharest the gift of life and consciousness with them, find themselves one with the life and consciousness of all. Thank you.
Next reading is from the Essence of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 2.47. Action in this realm of vibration is a duty, but let not your ego crave the fruits of action. Be not attached either to action or inaction. The solution is not to refrain from acting. Some people, many hermits for example, think to develop spiritually by refraining from all action. That idea is a delusion. As long as one must breathe, think, and move, he cannot rightly claim to be inactive. The yogi who sits breathless and motionless in samadhi is a different case. To go beyond action, you must merge your consciousness in the cosmic sound of Om, allowing it to act through you and around you until you merge in the infinite vibration, and then pass beyond vibration itself into the calm consciousness of the Supreme Spirit. As long, however, as you are conscious of having a body, you will only be deceiving yourself if you try to achieve the actionless state by not acting. All you will become in time is lazy and dull-minded. To reach God, one must first learn to act without selfish motive, for God, not for personal reward. Indeed, it is necessary to be intensely active for God if one would develop that intense awareness which alone lifts one to super consciousness. Lazy people will not find God. In everything you do, however, feel that the God is acting through you. Wash your body, feed it, give it rest. Do everything that is needful to maintain the body in good health and filled with energy. But always feel it is God I am serving through this physical instrument. The very enjoyment of good food, of beautiful scenery, of the good things in life can be offered up to God. Share those enjoyments with Him rather than depriving yourself of them. What needs to be released are the thoughts. I am doing, I am enjoying, and even the thought, it is I who am suffering. Even in meditation, it is important not to meditate with desire for the results. To eliminate the strain and tension of trying to concentrate, release also the thought, I am meditating. Think rather, the cosmic vibration is reaffirming through me its own reality. Cosmic love through me is yearning for God's love. Cosmic joy through me is rejoicing in our infinite beloved. Om.
Good morning, everyone. This is such a beautiful topic to speak on. The channel is blessed, and we should share those blessings. And I was just thinking just now that I've told this before, but I wanted to share it again. That when I was growing up, um, I developed willpower from just my environment. You had to be strong there, but I always felt I have to do everything myself. I have to use my own will, and I have to make it in life myself. And then as I grew up, it was the same. I had that mantra. I have to work hard and use my will, and I have to do everything myself. And when I went off to college, it was the same. I have to do this. I have to work hard. It was a strain all the time until I got to Ananda. And when I got to Ananda and I got on the path, for the first time in my life, I realized, no, there's help. The gurus are there to help you. Master is there. Swamiji is there. Your guru bhais are there. There are teachings. The whole universe is trying to help you. And that blessing can flow through you. And I realized that I had a friend in life, and I could walk through life not with the strain and it's me and I have to do it myself. And I think so many people feel that they are the doer, that I'm the one who's making the money, so I have a big bank account, and I'm keeping myself healthy, and I've done everything to make my surroundings look good, and I'm in charge of my children, and I'm in charge of myself and my job and all of these things. But we realize after a while, it doesn't take much thought that, just look out today, what's happening. People have been in charge, but they're not in charge anymore, because it's God who's in charge behind everything that we do. And if we can realize that is the energy that's propelling us forward, that's keeping us happy, that's giving us the ideas, that's giving us the inspiration, then we realize that it's a debt, if you want to even call it that, to give back. That first of all, we're receiving so much in our lives, and our channel of who we are is being blessed by what we receive, and being blessed by what we are able to give to others. When Swami Kriyanandaji read Autobiography of a Yogi, took the first bus across the country of America from the east to the west coast, he said what was in his mind was that he wanted to find God, but also that he wanted to share the blessings, the teachings that he would receive with everyone else. And we were not looking, but listening to a story from Autobiography of a Yogi last night. We're playing these stories every night. They're wonderful, Swamiji reading them. And this one was about how Master met his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswarji. What a loving relationship that was. What a loving meeting that they had. You could just feel, and Swamiji was in near tears and just telling the story. You must listen to it. And you could just feel what the guru gives to the disciple is just everything that's possible. It just pours into the disciple. And when Babaji when he brought Lahiri Mahashaya and showed him this cave, don't you remember? It was in the Himalayas. He said, don't you remember this cave? And Lahiri Mahashaya said, no, sir, I don't remember. He said, do you remember this cup? It was a brass cup. He said, no, I don't remember. Do you remember this asan? And he showed him his meditation asan. He says, no, I don't remember. And then Babaji touched him and he says, oh, now I remember, you're my guru. This is my meditation cave. This is the blanket I used to use to sit on. This is the cup I used to drink from. And you can just feel from that beautiful story how Babaji said, I waited for you for 3 decades. I kept the place clean. I kept your cup polished for you. I just been waiting for you. You can just feel how much the guru pours into the disciple. And the same was Swamiji when he met Master. Master touched him and Swamiji said he just felt so much love coming. And we have to realize that the guru is just pouring. God is pouring. The whole universe, if we're open, is pouring love and blessings and inspiration and ideas and thoughts and for doing so many things, just pouring it in. How can you hold it? You absolutely can't. You have to just let that go out to reach other people. Let that go from your heart to touch the whole world. Let the light shine out to everybody around you. Let the joy that bubble out from your heart. Let your eyes shine. A disciple of Master, any great disciple, you're just a shining light. Just sending out to the world everything that your Master, everything that Divine Mother have given to you. And we can't hold it for ourselves. Everyone must share. And we share, as we share, we grow. The channel is blessed by what flows through it. And to be in tune with me, Yoganandaji said, serve, give. And Master went to Swami Sri Yukteswarji when he was in the Hermitage. And he said, I just don't want to be a leader. I don't want to share things with people. And Swami Sri Yukteswarji said, well, why? He says, the leader's always cursed. Everybody, no matter what he does, people don't like him. And so Swami Sri Yukteswarji said so sweetly, he said, how do you think you would have gotten to the place you are without others caring and loving energy to help you? And we all have to think about that. People think, no, I'm worried about myself. No, as Master called it, us four and no more. It's just my little family. And I hope everybody's okay, but I'm taking care of my own family. We have to realize that to share with others is a huge part of the path, not just meditation, but sharing. And when Master Swami Sri Yukteswarji, through the Guru's grace, we have to remember, Master received a touch of samadhi from his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswarji. We have to know that Master wasn't a perfect meditation day for him either. He said he was so restless, but he came to his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswarji touched him, and Master went into such a deep state. He went into samadhi. You can read about an autobiography of a yogi in a deep ecstasy. And then when he came back out of that state, he knelt down to touch his guru's feet, and Swami Sri Yukteswarji picks him up. He says, don't get over drunk with God. He was telling him, you have much to do. He said, fetch a broom and let us sweep the balcony. And you just have to know that people think, oh, I'll just go into these high states and I'll just go into a cave. Well, there's no caves where we live. Maybe there's a cave where you live. And so he's had him sweeping the floor. And just to show him, you must have a balanced life and you must serve other people. Same with Lahiri Mahashaya. After Babaji materialized a golden palace, he with all kinds of beautiful gems and stones and diamonds and rubies and emeralds, and he also had him, he said, you must be hungry. This was after the Kriya Yoga initiation that he gave him in the golden palace. He said, you must be hungry. And he just materialized food. He says, put your hand in this vessel and take whatever you desire. And he brought out some, I think was hot lychees or something. I would have gone for apple pie, I think. Anyway, he eats till he's full. And then he says, oh, Babaji says, you must be thirsty now. Just please have some water. He looks around and Babaji points to the vessel. So now it's clean water. So he takes the water. I mean, this was such a loving moment. You know, Lahiri Mahashaya would have wanted to stay with Babaji, his guru. And Babaji says, no, you must go back, go to your job, go to your wife, go to your responsibilities and go out. I love it. Go out and give Kriya to all who humbly ask and show them that a balanced life is what's needed in these times. And so Lahiri Mahashaya went out. And Swami Kriyanandaji, when he first started Ananda, he said, he bought a piece of property in the Sierra Nevada foothills. And he said, well, I'll just it'll be a retreat and I'll bring a few people here. And then what happened was more and more people start coming and it became a retreat facility, not just a place for a few friends to come to. And I love the story Jyotishji told. He went to meet Swami Kriyanandaji. This was in San Francisco. And then later he came up to Ananda Village. And Swami Kriyanandaji said to him, oh, would you like to help me with the project? And Nayaswami Jyoti said, oh, yes, this is his first meeting. He knocks on the door. Swamiji comes to the door. After just very little conversation, would you like to help me? And he says, yeah. So he comes in, he starts helping him with the mailing. And he said he wanted to help, but he didn't know it would be for decades to come. Now it's been his whole lifetime. And this is what's so beautiful about true devotees, that they want to help other people. And Swamiji, he began that. And then when he came to India, he just had so many ideas. He was writing books, he was lecturing, he was on the spiritual TV stations in India. He was recording all day, every day for those stations, one talk after another. I think he did 10 in a day. And he started a bookstore. He had various things going, satsangs all the time. And then he would send some of us out because he couldn't go out very much himself. We were happy to go out. What are we here for? We're here to share our master's teachings. And Swamiji blessed each one of us and said, go out, take these teachings out. And I remember our talk, we went many times to all the major cities. And I remember when we went with Swamiji this particular time, just very soon before he left his body. And there were, I think 2,000 people could sit there in the hall. Then there was 1,000 people had to be turned away. But that was just a fantastic energy. And Swamiji, first thing he says, get a center started. You just know, he just wanted to always share. And that wonderful center, those wonderful devotees there with Dharmini and Dharmarajan heading that up. It's just a fantastic work. But that was always Swamiji, how can we help? Who can we help? How can we share? I remember people were telling me at the beginning of Ananda that people were easily, happily at Ananda Village, just there and beautiful, it took some building time to make that happen, but people are happy there. And then Swamiji said, no, it's not for us. Now we have to take this beyond Ananda Village. Let's go out. We're going to the cities. We're going to the cities, to Sacramento first. Nayaswami Haridas, who many of you know, he and Nayaswami Vijay, they began Ananda Sacramento. And then Swamiji said, let's go to San Francisco. San Francisco, that was like, you know, nobody wanted to be in San Francisco if you had left everything and gone up to the hills. No, we're going to San Francisco. And then we just kept going beyond. And then Swamiji said, we're going outside of America. And people went, what? How can we go outside of America? I was one of the people who went with Swamiji to Europe, and we started to work there. Swamiji took people to, he asked, I was one of the people who went to Australia. And then I love this. Also, Swamiji said about Africa that we should go there. And so this is how that came up. Swamiji was in the car. There were some other devotees, and this talk came up. Oh, there's so many people writing from Africa. They were talking amongst themselves. Swamiji was taking a nap in the car, and they thought, oh, he doesn't hear anything. And so somebody in the car said, oh God, how can we go there? We'll never go there. Swamiji wakes up. Why not? And, you know, and he says, why not? Those people need help. And so then we went there and spread the teachings there. And I tell you, one of the most wonderful times for me, because I was in that group of people who went there, one of the most wonderful times was going to South Africa. We were in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and then South Africa. And so at South Africa, it was the time of apartheid. It just ended just a few months before. We never had any problems at all. So we go there, and we're teaching all over, and people say, oh no, we can't have mixed groups here. Nobody ever mixes here. You know, they had the black bus, the white beach, the black beach, the colored beach. I've never seen anything like it. And so then, but in our classes, everybody came, and people said, this never happens in South Africa. Nobody ever mixes. And there was all kinds of people there. But the thing that touched me the most, I have to tell you, was when I went to Durban, and I met the wonderful Indian devotees. And I didn't know, well, there was one fellow, Ashok Chippa, I think was his name. He was in Ananda House, San Francisco. But besides him, I didn't know, I never met any other Indians. So we went there. A wonderful fellow, Rajiv Maharaj, had invited us. And he said, oh, you just must come, and you must meet my parents, and you know, Indians are persistent. You must. And so, okay, we said, okay, we'll go there. So we go and meet his parents, and they said, oh no, you can't stay here for a few hours. You got to spend the night. You got to teach. Can we invite a few friends over? And I said, sure, a few friends. I didn't know anything about it. 30 people showed up in an hour. And there they were. We want the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. So we're teaching energization and teaching yoga and affirmations and, you know, various techniques, Hangsa. And they said, no, you can't leave now. You got to come tomorrow. You got to spend the night. You know, I said, oh my God, you know, these people were persistent. Spend the night. We want the teachings. What I'm saying is there was no passivity on their part, so it couldn't be passivity on our part. There has to be, but putting out of energy, putting out. We stayed there, and one man at the end, I'll never forget it. He stood up and he said, I pray to Babaji. I saw that in the autobiography of a yogi where it says, anybody who prays to Babaji will receive an instantaneous blessing. I prayed to Babaji that somebody would come here. You people are the answer to that prayer. And I just thought, what a beautiful thing. We think that God doesn't hear our prayers. God doesn't know us. But I know that man's prayer. I know what he said was the truth. And why? Because they were putting out so much energy. And this is a time when times are hard, when times are dark, when times are difficult. Don't be passive. This is a time to put out more. When you're anything that you do, spread the light from your house. Put on your altar. You see how beautiful this altar is? I just lit it up so that the whole world can see the light of God coming from this altar. And you can just think of it as you do your kriyas. I'm doing my kriya to spread the light. I'm not doing it to burn up my own karma. Burn up other people's karma. Burn up your kids, your relatives. Burn up the virus karma as you're doing your kriyas. And as you're doing the energization, I'm sending energy. I'm sending out to everybody around the world. People are sitting on the couch with the remote. I'm sending out the energy to them. And then when you do your healing prayers, I'm sending the ray of Master. These are our gurus, our avatars, teachings. I'm sending them out to the whole world. I'm sending this vibration when I chant. As I'm chanting, this chanting is just going straight through the ether. It's such a wonderful thought. As I'm singing these songs, as I'm playing Swamiji's songs, just going around the world, and everybody is being blessed. And as you do that, you are part of the cause, not the effect. Make yourself a part of the cause. I'm spreading the light of my guru. Master's given us so much. You can't sit on the couch now. You have to say, what can I do? Affirmations, I'm putting them out. Healing prayers, I'm putting them out. Whatever it is, I'm putting it out there so that the whole world benefits from what my guru has given me. This channel has been blessed, and I want to share the light and the blessings that my guru and these teachings have given to me. And in that way, the circle is complete. Otherwise, you keep saying, give me, give me, give me. I remember once after a Kriya initiation, it was a week or two later, someone came to me and they said, oh, Dhyana ji, this is all wonderful, but I'm not seeing a light yet. And I just said, why are you begging? Look what you just got. Now you have your hand out, wanting more. We have to remember, we have to give back. And as you give, your problems go away. As you give, you get stronger. As you give, you get more clarity. As you give, ideas, solutions, answers that come to you. As you give, your children behave better. And someone was telling me that when the kids start, fighting in the house or arguing, whatever, they would put on Om, Swamiji chanting the Om, and the kids would just calm down. This music, these talks of Swamiji, Master's voice, the meditations, they all just bring you back into God consciousness. And as we can do that and not hold our hand out for more, hold your hand up in blessing. I am a channel of my guru. What he has given me, I am sharing now with the whole world. God bless you.
And if you get caught in any kind of delusion, it's interesting how, for instance, you get into a mood and suddenly everything seems to reflect that mood. The whole universe seems to be made of realities that are sort of dreamed up by that mood. Well, in The Life Everlasting by Marie Corelli, there's a very interesting passage about that where Catherine Harlan, this young woman who is very much into, well, she's been hypnotized almost by her father into thinking that the universe is all without values, without God, without higher truths, without any end, that when you die, that's it, and so on. And the case that Marie Corelli is able to make for that kind of belief through the eyes of Catherine Harlan is a very good case. That it's such a horrible universe where everything is eating everything else, or else trying to avoid being eaten by something else. And if you look at it in that way, suddenly you see that, yes, it is a horrible thing where dog eats dog and nobody's out for anything but himself, and suddenly the whole universe takes on a very black look. And yet you come out at the other end of the tunnel into the lives of the saints, and they look at everything with love and joy and forgiveness. And if you see it through their eyes, you see it really not from a moody standpoint, but really in tune with their state of consciousness, suddenly you see everything is beauty, everything is joy. And even the darkness and ugliness in this world is understood to be just people struggling to come out of that which prevents them from understanding who they really are. It's sort of like a novel where if the hero of the novel is born in a rich home and marries the boss's daughter and becomes the boss himself in due course and builds himself a lovely house and surrounded by lovely neighbors, you finally end up thinking, what a boring book. But you take that same boy born on the wrong side of the tracks and somehow struggling, getting up, working his way up through the ranks and marrying the boss's daughter and finally having everything the other one had, you think, oh, wow, what a success story. It's as if in this world of duality we need the difficulties to make success more precious when it comes. Even finding God. I remember, and I've mentioned this in the path, where James Collar was saying to Master, I have such love for God. Why doesn't he come to me? And Master's answer was very sweetly smiling. He said, that's what makes it all the sweeter when he does come. That need builds up. It's not as if his joy was a qualified kind of joy, and yet there is something in our human consciousness that too is satisfied by the delay and the difficulty and the struggle, and we got to think of it that way, don't we? Might as well have a positive outlook on this thing. But at the same time, who's to say which of those two visions is more real? Is it possible, inasmuch as the person who's got a completely negative outlook and sees everything in negative terms and considers this pure sentiment, is it possible that he's right and that we're wrong? Or is it possible that we're equally right? How can you come out of that one alive? Well, the answer is very clear. That when you have an expanded vision, you're able to cope better with reality. Your test of how realistic your attitude is how well you can cope with it. How well you can cope with all levels of reality. And a person who's on a lower level of reality can't cope with higher levels. But one who is on a higher or a more expanded level is able to cope with the lower levels. He's able to come out of it and do something with it. He's able to use his energies in a constructive way, where the other one becomes paralyzed by it, is unable to relate to other people's realities. If he pursues that trend too far, he even goes insane. So we can see by any reasonable test that the spiritual view is the right one. Nevertheless, it's very, very true that whatever our present state of consciousness is, that's what seems to be reality to us until we can grow out of it. And the way out is to keep on expanding. Take this simple little alternative. When a person is feeling suffering, automatically he starts to think that, well, I don't have enough energy to think about other people. I can't involve myself in their problems because I've got problems of my own to work with. And I've got to work them out, and then I'll be able to perhaps be compassionate and serviceful toward others and all those lovely things. But first I've got to think about me. But what happens is you have a single thought and you build a vortex around that thought. And when you got a vortex, you've got things drawing into that center, not necessarily expanding outward from that center. So that simple thought of I and mine and worrying about me actually feeds itself. And you never come out of it that way. You never, because always there's something more. It's sort of like trying to make yourself comfortable, absolutely comfortable, on a sofa. You can't do it. You can't do it. You push the pillow this way, and oh, maybe if it were a little bit to the left, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. It never works. This world isn't set up to be perfect, and nothing in it is set up to be perfect. And somehow when you try to create perfection, even in the most trivial way, you find things start to go wrong. And so it is that with this simple thought of, I've got to get my trip together first, I've got to worry about myself first, I've got to think of my problems first. The problem is yourself. And as long as you think that way, you will find that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You never get out of it.
Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near, home's the end of the fray. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. Home is forever, home is today. Home's a heart that is whole. Often I dream that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near, home's the end of the fray. Home is my heart's land, home's where I am. Nothing can dim the light of my soul. Home is forever, home is today. Home's a heart that is whole. Often I dream that life is a play, laughter forever and skies never gray. But when I'm silent, freed from all care, I discover my home's everywhere. Home is a green hill, home is a wind, blowing betrayal far, far away. Home is the knowledge heaven is near, home's the end of the fray.
I offer this light to God and the Masters. Please feel the blessing of God and the Gurus through receiving this light, symbolic of their love and their light. Receive it in your heart. Receive it in your mind, in your soul. Let's close with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever upon the sanctuary of my devotion, and may I be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti. Shanti. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
Oh.